Okay, yeah. Oh, man. I have no idea how on earth Nick Castle and James Jude Courtney are able to do this for so long, because, yeah, this thing can get uncomfortable really fast. Hello everybody. Welcome back to another video from me. We are officially halfway through the month of October, aka Spooky Month, aka the Month of Terror, and many other things. And of course, wouldn't be, Halloween without, Halloween. So that is why today I'm going to be talking about the most recent entry in the Halloween franchise, Halloween Kills. Hence my getup. But to provide a little bit of background for those who don't know why exactly this movie exists in the first place, allow me to explain. You see, back in 2018, Universal Pictures, in collaboration with Blumhouse, Miramax, and a couple of other people, released Halloween 2018. Now, Halloween 2018 was a direct sequel to the original Halloween, ignoring all the sequels that came afterwards, including Halloween 2 from 1981. So, the film follows onwards directly after the events of the original John Carpenter film and nothing else. Think of it as sort of like a requel in the fact that it's a reboot sequel and basically ignores the continuity of all the other movies. But yeah, Halloween 2018 comes out and it's a huge success. It's probably the best ranked film in the franchise besides the original, and it made a stupid amount of money. Like, unadjusted for inflation, I believe it's actually the highest grossing slasher film of all time. That was how big of an impact it made. But to be fair, it does make sense because at that point, it had been 9 years since the last Michael Myers movie of any kind came out. And it didn't help the fact that that was also Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. So, yeah. Now, in terms of my relationship with this franchise, Halloween 2018 was the first ever horror film I ever saw in a theater, and of course, I love the original Halloween from 1978. I try to make an effort to watch it every October because, makes sense. And I definitely really dug Halloween 2018, and I do think it is the best out of all the sequels. So, imagine my surprise when in July of 2019, during San Diego Comic-Con, Universal and Blumhouse make the announcement that not only will Halloween 2018 be getting one sequel, but it will be getting two sequels. Yeah, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, which are set to conclude the trilogy of the modern Halloween movies. So, yeah. Now, they began filming Halloween Kills back in September of 2019 to November of 2019. Of course, this was during the intention that they would release that movie in 2020, and then they would film Halloween Ends, and then they would release that in 2021. Obviously, they definitely had to delay things by at least a year and had to change a couple other things for reasons that I hope I don't need to get into. So, yeah. Halloween Kills ended up getting delayed and officially came out a year later. One officially, came out now. Also, one little note that I want to mention really quick is, they actually filmed Halloween Kills, in Wilmington, North Carolina. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because I myself am, I live in North Carolina, so it's definitely really cool when you hear about a big project like this, or the latest Scream movie that's going to be coming out in January, and it's like, oh, they're filming in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm like, hey, I actually live not that far away. I mean, I live far from it, but not that far away from it. But, I just think it's really cool whenever I hear something like that. It's like, oh, that's super cool. But, yeah. Now, I've gone on to the backstory about why exactly this movie exists. Short answer, money. But what actually is the movie about? Well, the movie begins, and it's, aside from a short flashback sequence to the original Halloween from 1978, this picks up almost immediately after the events of Halloween 2018. Like, Laurie, Karen, and Andi Matichak, they're all in the truck. No. Dang it. Okay, you got Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie, you got Judy Greer's Karen, and then you got Andi Matichak's Allison. They're all in the back of the truck. Laurie is bleeding out from the stab wound that Michael inflicted upon her earlier. And then, of course, the house is currently set ablaze with Michael locked in the basement. However, unfortunately, things end up, not going as planned when firefighters end up coming by to put out the building. And in doing so, inadvertently rescue Michael, thus letting him continue his reign of terror on Haddonfield on Halloween night. But this time things are going to be different, because a group of survivors and a group of Haddonfielders led by Tommy Doyle from the original film are coming together and are going on a manhunt for Michael Myers. Because as they put it, evil dies tonight. It clearly doesn't because of the existence of a sequel, but they don't know that. Now that we got that out of the way, let's actually get into the review section of this movie. So, what about this movie? Okay, so first of all, did I like the movie? Yes, I did. I did definitely enjoy this movie. Do I think it is better than Halloween 2018 or Halloween 1978? No, I don't think it's better than those films. I'll go into the reasons to why, but yeah. But first off, I'm going to start with the positives. Firstly, the kills. This movie is called Halloween Kills for a reason. The kills are some of the most brutal and bloodiest kills that Michael Myers has ever dished out in any one of his movies. And that includes the Rob Zombie films, mind you. It's the amount of people that the bodies that Michael stacks in his wake is just ridiculous. And the creative and innovative ways that he kills all of them too is really cool. Not only that, but of course, the atmosphere and score are top notch. David Gordon Green, obviously, of course, he's definitely had a lot of knowing the fact that he's done this beforehand. He clearly knows what worked best about Halloween 2018 and what didn't. As him and Danny McBride are both coming back to work on the project. As, of course, David Gordon Green being the director and co-writer of the screenplay, with McBride also serving as a co-writer on this film. And they're also joined by Scott Teems, who also is going to be writing the Blumhouse remake of Firestarter starring Zac Efron, which just wrapped filming not too long ago. So that's really cool. They definitely do have a firm idea about what worked about that movie and what didn't. And the flashback sequences to the original Halloween from 1978, they seek to explore a couple of answers about, during the original night in which Michael first went out on his reign of terror. And the way that they're shot, even down to, almost the film stock and the way, the wardrobe and the hairstyles and all the other stuff, it feels almost directly like the 70s movie. It's spot on. And of course, the music is fantastic. You got John Carpenter returning to compose a score alongside his son Cody Carpenter and Daniel Davies, if I remember correctly. And it's fantastic. I mean, it's kind of hard for Halloween to not have a good score. Well, from what I can recall, at least. The performances from everybody, of course, are really fantastic as well. Jamie Lee Curtis. She is a little bit sidelined in this movie, but I think the fact that there's a fair reason as to why exactly that is. Her character was stabbed in the stomach multiple times and needs intense surgery, so obviously, of course, she is in it a fair amount, but she's not in it. Obviously, of course, she doesn't have that much of an active role as she did in Halloween 2018, which makes sense. Not only that, but of course, Judy Greer and Andi Matichak both come back as Karen and Allison, Laurie's daughter and granddaughter, respectively. And of course, they do a really good job too. And I really like the fact that they're giving both of them a little bit more agency. Karen, who in 2018 was basically Mom, stop being obsessed with this boogeyman or whatever and whatnot. She has now firsthand experienced the horrors of the boogeyman. And Allison, also having just experienced Michael's wrath, helps to join Tommy Doyle and his group hunt down Michael Myers, which I think is really a cool idea. The fact that I don't think really was done in other Halloween films before, in which you have a group, a mob, going after Michael Myers and trying to hunt him down. I think that's actually a really cool idea. In fact, they could have easily just called this movie Halloween, The Hunt for Michael Myers, and I think it could have worked just as well. Now this brings me to some things, the fact that I think don't work as well, and some things, the fact that I think these other films do better. The big thing about this is that, while this is a really fantastic slasher movie, and I think it's really fantastic, in terms of moving the franchise forward, it really doesn't do anything that innovative. It's a really well-made movie, don't get me wrong, But in terms of pushing the franchise forward and pushing the envelope of the slasher genre, it doesn't really do that. Not only that, but of course you also have to go into this movie with the notion of the fact that it's going to end with the fact that, you know, there's going to be another movie after this, so it's going to end kind of unsatisfactory. So it's like, alright, great, now I gotta wait another year to be able to figure out how this resolves. And then of course there's also the fact that, you know, if you're going into this movie with the expectation that they're gonna further develop the characters and the lore and other things of the world of Haddonfield, Illinois, Michael Myers and other things like that, you're gonna be very disappointed. Because, you know, this movie, it's about Michael Myers killing people on Halloween night, and the people of Haddonfield just try and stop it. Character development really isn't the strong suit of this movie, but I don't think the fact that that was the main goal. The main goal of this movie was to create an entertaining horror thrill ride, and I think it did a fantastic job of doing that. Do I think it's the best out of the franchise? Obviously not. Do I still think the fact that it's a lot better than a lot of the other sequels? Definitely, 100%. Like, I do think the fact that this is probably, like, in terms of all the Halloween films, I do think it's the third best. Obviously, of course, behind the original from John Carpenter and then Halloween 2018, which I liked slightly more. But, yeah. Overall, I definitely did enjoy Halloween Kills. Definitely not worth the 38 on Rotten Tomatoes. I definitely think the fact that it deserves a way higher score than that. But, yeah, I definitely do think the fact that this movie is really good. It delivers really great scares. The kills are just as gory and fantastic as ever. There's some of the most brutal kills you can imagine. The performances from everybody all around are actually really, really solid. And, of course, you know, the atmosphere and the music is really fantastic. There are still, of course, comedic moments, of course, throughout the movie. Because, you know, you need that moments of tension and levity. But it's not nearly as prominent as it was in Halloween 2018. But to be fair, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride both kind of had backgrounds in comedy, so this kind of made sense. But this kind of feels a little bit more in line with, like, the original John Carpenter Halloween. And the fact that, well, yes, there were moments of humor and levity. There weren't, like, there really weren't entire sequences of, you know, just, you know, back and forth character banters and witty dialogues and whatnot. But yeah, if you're going into, and of course, you know, as previously mentioned, in terms of pushing the franchise forward, it really doesn't do much of that. Obviously, there were some things about that kind of make me go, okay, I guess. But overall, I really did enjoy Halloween Kills, so that's why I'm going to give the movie a 7.5 out of 10. So, yeah, I definitely do think the fact that you should see the movie. And, what's that, Michael? You think the people should actually go and see this in theaters and not stream it on Peacock? Oh, of course. What Michael actually meant to say was, if it is safe for you, and if you are fully vaccinated, and you really do want to see this in the theater, go see this in the theater. Like, however, if you're unvaccinated, or if it's unsafe for you in your area, you're going to probably just have to bite the bullet and stream it on Peacock, which is really unfortunate, but that's just times we live in. But do at least try to make an effort to see this in the theater. I don't want the theater experience to die, so please see this in the theater. But yeah, that about does it for Halloween Kills. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering, oh, and how come you haven't reviewed No Time to Die yet? You know, it came out like a week ago. Like, how come you haven't reviewed that movie yet? Well, there's a good reason as to why I haven't reviewed it yet. I still need to see all the other Daniel Craig James Bond films. I just rewatched Casino Royale for the second time in like 2 years. And of course, you know, I still need to watch Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and then finally Spectre before I see No Time to Die. Expect a review soon, like maybe hopefully later on in the week soon. But definitely do expect a review of Dune this weekend. As aside from Spider-Man No Way Home and The Suicide Squad, it is my most anticipated movie of this year. And I'm super excited for it. And I can't wait to share my thoughts with you on it when I eventually do see it. So, yeah. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this movie. Hope you guys enjoyed this review of the movie. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, all the other stuff that, you know, YouTube forces me to tell you in order to be able to make sure the fact that my channel doesn't completely die out. But yeah, I hope you guys are, doing doing great. And as always, happy Halloween.